Sorry, I have wiper blades now. And the weird thing about this, and I'll go over this in a second because something about this seems off, but anyways, wipers. I have wipers. Pretty cool. Works. Hi. Not much of a difference. No. Hoi. Hey, about these wiper blades. Kind of weird. These are the original, I guess you can call them wiper arms. Those are the original wiper arms. Let me see if I can grab these guys. These are the wiper arms that I got from a local guy when I bought the carpet kit. He was just like, I don't need these anymore, and he just wanted to give them to me. So I'm like, okay, cool. He had an earlier Squareback. Now here's the weird thing. Putting these up right next to each other, the bend is different. See that? It's kind of strange. Now, if you flip it over, like I've seen every other Squareback I've seen, the blades go like this. Like they sit this way. Well, there's a big problem with this. And it's that, frankly, when you go over to that side, and both, like, these are not the same size. One of these is like a half an inch shorter than the other. But like if you put it on facing this way, you're off the damn window. Unless you have it up like that, which is kind of silly. So I don't know. Maybe it was a late model thing where the wipers changed directions. Or maybe I'm doing it completely wrong. But either way, like, they work. Like, I have wipers now. You know, and it doesn't get all the way over here, but whatever. I just don't see how it would work going this way. Like, I just don't see how that would work. Like, I would think that this would have to be like there, and then it would be like, oh, okay, then it can wipe like that. But it's a little bit more inboard, so that's what makes sense to me. And also, obviously, these are the wiper arms that came from this car that I just painted and made look nice. So, I don't know. It's a little thing. Maybe it's a late model thing. I don't know, but it works. And I think there was a little cap that went over this little, jam nut here. I want to find it because I doubt that this was out in the open, but it also wouldn't surprise me if it was. So, okay, so pretty much for the past couple weeks, I've been going through the brake system and figuring out that both on the rear and the front of the car, there was an issue with either one of the brakes. Like the first one, the front brakes, one of the pads was installed upside down. So the piston for the brake was pushing against the pad material, the friction material. So I swapped that out. So I swapped both those out. And then for the rears, one of the spreader plates for the brake drum didn't exist. So I went and replaced all the shoes, that, and all the springs in the rear drum. So now my e-brake works like it's supposed to, which is nice. And my front brakes work. So I've been driving the car around the block, not too far because I don't have seat belts. And my all my ball joints are completely shot, so I don't want to put too much hard driving on this thing like out on the highway or anything until I get that stuff fixed up. So to break from the monotony of that stuff, I figured I would take a look at the washer system. So I got one of these. This is the washer bottle for the Square. This part goes in there, so it just sort of, this gets hidden, you don't see that. And then at the end here, there's a thing to attach to the spare tire here. Now I got this spare tire from parts guy Chris from Oakland Air Cooled. Freaking awesome guy. Sold me this for I think $20. It's ugly as sin, but it's the right size and it has air in it. But man, is it ugly. Oh. Yeah, that is a nasty looking spider. Yeesh. If I can take care of that. Oh no. Back to this. Yeesh. I have had this sitting in the backyard, so I'm not doing it any favors. So let's see if I stick this on the end here, if it actually secures and does anything, or what I have to do. It's got a screw on it, so let me just take this off and screw her on. See if it actually holds air, or if I can actually use this, because apparently this part right here is kind of hard to get, and I have one, so I'm pretty happy about that. I don't feel like it's actually, like, it's on there, but it's not. What is this? I would assume that I can press this or something. Ah! More fun. Oh, another bug. Oh, Jesus. This has been sitting in this guy's backyard for God knows how long, so it makes sense. But anyways, I wonder how this works. Because it's screwed on there. And I do have... Oh! I just heard it. So maybe there is pressure on here. Okay, so that's got pressure in it. But how does this actually activate? How does this work? How does this work? Let me try and figure this out. Oh, fuck. Definitely put a lot of work into stuff that doesn't really matter too much, but anyways, here's the valve that screws in on the top of the washer bottle, and it's kind of cool because there's this little nylon tab here, and when the bottle gets screwed in, this gets pushed up, and on the other side of this there's a little, I guess it's a Schrader? Yeah, it's a little Schrader valve, and it pushes up, or it pushes down on this spring that opens up the airway and allows air to come in or exit through here. So right now it's not actuated. I'm going to push up on it a little bit. Oh yeah. Give it some air pressure, push up on it. Okay, so let me explain this weird ass setup I got here. So this is obviously going to my air compressor. There's a step down, or like universal vacuum joint here that goes from, like, I guess the 1/8 inner diameter to a 1/4 inch inner diameter, I think, or maybe it's 1/8 to 1/16, I don't know, but it's one of those step downs. And this guy, like, I wanted to see, like, if it wasn't, because, like, when I hooked this up to my tire, nothing was working. I'm thinking that, well, maybe it's because there's some blockage in here. Maybe something has to get pushed out because this hasn't, you know, this has been sitting for God knows how long. So the pressure that's in the tire is probably no more than like 25 psi or something like that, which this should work under 25 psi. But it just wasn't, I don't know, I thought it was blocked up. So I get my 175 psi air compressor going, hook up the sprayer to the end of this, and, you know, it took a little bit of work to get this thing, but eventually it opened up again. So now I think that I can put this back on the car, or back on the tire well, and hopefully it'll fill up the bottle this time. Another little modification I had to do was this right here, and it's a Schrader valve that really clamps on to the that clamps on very well to the, what the hell do you call that? Valve stem of the tire. Because the old one that I was using, frankly, just didn't have enough pop in it, or it just didn't seal well enough, and it just wasn't gonna work out. So I had to cut that off, and I got this step here that connects that to that, and that connects to the top of the washer bottle. So in theory, I should be able, see this through? Cool. I should be able to now at least get the, oh, of course it's on backwards, at least get it to the point where when it's tightened down, it starts filling up the bottle. And then, once it's doing that, I can chase it a little bit further and see if, you know, I have an issue with the, like with the washer thing, or the washer control actuating. See if there's an issue there. The little joint that's on top of the, what do you call it? On top of the, or like on the bottom of the steering column. See if that works. So, anyways, I got it hooked up in here, and if it's working correctly, I should be getting some airflow out of the bottom there. So let's see. So, not really. I don't hear anything. Because this should be constant pressure, because the only actual valve that should flow stuff around is the on the washer stalk. That's the only thing that should actuate any sort of like real valve. Like, being that this is tight on here, this should be like, there should be pressure going in here, but maybe there's just not enough pressure in the tire. I don't know. Let's see how much PSI that tire has. Let's give her a go. Oh shit. 5, maybe 7. Wow. Yeah, that's probably the reason why this isn't working. There's not enough pressure in this tire. So yeah, I guess I gotta fill her up, don't I? I want to bring this bottle over to the compressor and like take this off and see if it works. Just troubleshoot it a little bit better so that I know that if I'm getting good airflow from the tire, that, you know, it's going to operate a way that I know. So I'm going to do that real quick and then put some air in this tire, although I don't know. 36 PSI max, and it's got a little bit of dry rot in it, so I don't know really how much air. It's not horrible dry rot, it's just some, but maybe it'll hold 30 or 25. I highly doubt that this needs anything more than like 20, 25 PSI, but I think this thing will hold. But let me do stuff. Alright, so filled this thing up to 30 PSI. It didn't explode, so that's good. And I tested this on the bench when I hooked up my compressor to this side of it, that like when this is tight enough, like, yes, I do get airflow out of the bottom of this. So in theory, this should all work now when I hook this up. And I do. So you can't really, you can sort of hear it, kind of. Yeah. So okay, that works. So now, God, that's not a lot of airflow. I guess it needs to build after a while or something to like be enough pressure to go through the entire system or something. I don't know. It definitely takes a long time. So just hook up this connector over here and then just let it fill and see if I get any leaks at the lever side. and then take it from there. And then if everything seems good, I guess if everything seems good from there, put some fluid in it and see if I can wash my windows. Alright, so I have a late model Square, so I do my washers by pulling that out like any normal person would. On the early model ones, there's like a switch, I think, over here. That's like part of the headlight switch. That's like you press in, the washer goes like that, but mine's normal, like a normal person, so let's see if we can hear anything. Alright, so I hear the valve working. Okay. I'm going to be brave and put a little bit of fluid in it and see what happens. It doesn't seem like it's leaking. I can't hear it, but I want to do it just as a test, and then I think once this is done, I'll get these wire. I'll get the because this is sloppy as shit. It's just laying here. I'll get them like seated better in their little posts, but I'm going to put a little bit of washer fluid in there and see what happens. All right, put a little bit of fluid in there. See him right there. Beep, beep, beep. A little bit of fluid in there, and I'm let it pressurize, I guess is what I have to do with my washing system. And let's see. Whoop. It's so, oh no, it's so sad. Oh no. It's so sad. Do I have to aim him? Maybe I have to aim it. I'm gonna try and aim it, but it works. It doesn't look like I'm getting leaks down here. Wait, yes I am. Yep. That's a leak. Maybe that's why mine's sad. Okay, so it looks like this is coming from, yeah, it looks like it's coming from, let's see if we can get underneath here and look. I don't think it's coming from, I hope it's not, that's the thing, I don't want it to come from this one that goes the actual washer itself, because that one's very hard to replace. But let's just see. I think it, I'm really hoping you guys can see that, because I can't. Alright, I'm going to review the tape. Let's see. Okay, after reviewing the footage, it looks like it's a little bit of both. A little bit of the inlet and the outlet, and they're just not on there good enough. So what I'm going to do is, there's a trick to get these guys to seat better, and it is to soak the ends in hot water, and then while it's a little soft, slide them on in there. And then maybe I can hedge my bets a little bit with a zip tie, or maybe an eensy beensy weensy little hose clamp, but maybe a zip tie would be good enough. But I mean, in like, by the pure definition, it works. It's just really sad. So that's the next step, and I gotta shorten these cables anyways. Got the washers. This is done. So with the help of my lighter, I was able to get these cables, or the lines, back on better. One of them is still leaking just a little bit, so I'm going to try and force it on a little bit more. But what the lighter did is I just heated up the rubber hoses a little bit, got them to expand, pushed them on there, and then gave them a couple minutes to cool down and shrink back down. And pretty much all my leaks are gone. I just have to get that one a little bit further on there, I guess. And then we're good to go. But I have run out of fluid, so this is what I get. But it works. Trust me, it works. As you can see, it's definitely got my windshield. So, another thing that you gotta do is you gotta get yourself a little safety pin here. Stick it in the eye of these nozzles and maneuver them around until you get a good spray pattern on your windshield, and that's it. Now with this thing, it won't work well unless it's got at least 30 psi in it. Otherwise it just won't work. So this guy I think has a small leak on it, and given that this tire is so damn old, it makes sense. So I'm gonna go get a new one of these and get this painted, but I can safely say that I have a functioning washer system now. Now for the coup de grace. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. What more could you ask for, man?